Welcome back to Zill Podcast, Shooting Reality. I'm James Caro. And with me today,
Emily Laura, glad to be here.
we are diving into...
And a topic I think everyone struggles with productivity.
You know, we are constantly just bombarded with all these tips and tricks to get more done.
Absolutely.
But today we're going beyond the surface, exploring a time management method with some serious staying power. The Pomodoro Technique.
Ooh.
We've got research articles, even some fresh insights from 2024, ready to unlock some serious productivity.
Let's unlock it.
All right.
Let's unpack this Pomodoro Technique.
Right.
What is the big idea?
Well, it all started back in the late 1980s with a struggling university student named Francesco Cirillo. Can you imagine? This productivity guru was just trying to get through his studies.
Oh, wow. That's kind of comforting in a way.
Right.
That he was facing the same struggles that so many of us deal with.
Absolutely.
So he grabbed, what did he grab? A tomato-shaped kitchen timer, Pomodoro in Italian. And he committed to studying in these 25-minute bursts.
So wait, the whole technique is named after a tomato.
Exactly. That's right.
That's fantastic.
Those 25-minute intervals became pomodoros, and he would take a 5-minute break between each one. After 4 pomodoros, he'd take a longer break, 15 to 30 minutes. That's the core of it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And this tomato-inspired method actually worked.
It did.
There are tons of apps and websites dedicated to it now.
That's right. There's something about this simple structure that just clicks for people.
Mhm.
But it's more than just setting a timer. It taps into how our brains are wired for focus and reward.
Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice? Break it down for us.
Sure. First, choose a single task. That's key. We're talking laser focus. No multitasking allowed.
Okay.
All right. Then, set that timer for 25 minutes. Work on that task without distractions until the timer goes off. That's 1 Pomodoro down. Take a 5-minute break and repeat. After 4 Pomodoros, reward yourself with that longer break.
Okay, I'm already feeling more structured just hearing you describe it.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, why is this so effective? Is it really just the magic of the tomato timer?
Well, the timer is a tool, but the real magic lies in the psychology behind it. One major factor is that it breaks down those huge, overwhelming tasks into manageable chunks, Instead of feeling paralyzed by this massive project, you're focused on conquering those 25-minute intervals. It's a mental shift that can be incredibly empowering.
Yeah, that makes sense. 25 minutes feels doable. Even for those daunting tasks, it's like tricking your brain into getting started. But what about all those distractions? Our phones, emails, that sudden urge to reorganize your desk?
Right. That's where the timer comes in. It becomes your commitment device. You've made a pact with yourself to focus for 25 minutes, and the ticking clock is a constant reminder.
I can see how that would help. It's almost like having an accountability buddy, but without the judgmental looks.
Exactly.
Right.
And Cirillo actually developed a strategy for handling those inevitable interruptions.
Oh.
He calls it the inform, negotiate, schedule, callback method.
I'm intrigued. Break that down for us.
It's pretty straightforward. Let's say someone tries to interrupt you. During a Pomodoro, you inform them that you're in a focused work session. Negotiate a time to address their request later, schedule it if needed, and then call back when your Pomodoro is complete.
So it's not about becoming a hermit. It's about setting healthy boundaries and respecting those focused work intervals.
Precisely.
Okay.
And this leads to another powerful benefit. The Pomodoro Technique helps you redefine your relationship with time. Instead of feeling like it's constantly slipping away, you're measuring your accomplishments in these focused bursts.
You're actually in control of your time rather than letting it control you.
Exactly. And the sense of control can boost your motivation. Think about it. Each Pomodoro is a mini challenge. You can win. Checking those completed intervals off your list can be incredibly satisfying. Okay, I can totally see the appeal there. It's like gamifying your productivity. But let's get to the heart of the matter. Does any research actually support these claims? Or is this just another productivity fad?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, there's a growing body of research that highlights the effectiveness of short breaks for improving focus and cognitive performance. One study published in the journal Cognition found that even brief diversions from a task can dramatically improve performance on that task when you return to it.
So powering through hours of work without breaks is actually counterproductive?
It can be.
Wow.
Our brains aren't designed to sustain intense focus. For extended periods, short breaks allow our minds to rest and reset. leading to greater clarity and productivity in the long run.
So instead of fighting against our natural attention spans, the Pomodoro Technique works with them.
Exactly.
Makes sense. But I've heard the term planning fallacy thrown around in relation to this. Remind me what that is again?
Oh, yeah. It's that all-too-human tendency to underestimate how long tasks will actually take. We're optimists at heart, right?
Oh, tell me about it. I'm constantly overestimating how much I can get done in a day.
Right. The beauty of the Pomodoro Technique is that it provides concrete data on your work pace. By tracking how many pomodoros a task actually requires, you gain valuable insights into your own work habits and can plan more realistically in the future.
So instead of just guessing, you're using real data to inform your planning. That's brilliant, but let's be honest. Everyone works differently. Can you really tailor this technique to individual needs?
Absolutely. Flexibility is one of the biggest strengths of the Pomodoro Technique. If you find 25 minutes too short or too long, adjust it. Some people thrive on 50-minute Pomodoros with longer breaks. The key is to experiment and find what works best for you. It's about the principle of focused work intervals with planned breaks, not rigidly adhering to a specific time frame.
I like that. It takes the pressure off.
Yep.
But what about integrating the Pomodoro Technique with other productivity methods?
Ooh, that's where things get really interesting. You can combine the Pomodoro Technique with task management systems like Asana or Todoist.
Okay, yeah. I could see how that would be helpful. You could break down your tasks in Asana and then use Pomodoros to tackle them.
Exactly. Or you could use Todoist to schedule specific Pomodoros in advance, ensuring you're allocating time for all your priorities. It's all about finding the right tools and workflow that enhance your personal style.
Okay, now I'm starting to see how versatile this technique can be. But what about those breaks? Any tips on how to make the most of them?
It's all about self-awareness. What truly recharges you? Some people find short walks or stretching beneficial. Others need a few minutes of meditation or simply to step away from screens.
You know, I've always felt guilty about taking breaks. Like I should be pushing through to get more done. But reframing them as essential for productivity, that's a game changer.
It's not about being lazy. It's about being strategic.
Right.
Short breaks are an investment in your ability to maintain focus and perform at your best throughout the day.
I'm totally on board with that. But what about applying these principles to teamwork? Can you even Pomodoro as a group?
Well, while the technique is often used individually, the core principles can definitely benefit teams. Imagine a team where everyone commits to focused work blocks, minimizing interruptions, and maximizing productivity.
I can see how that would help reduce those constant distractions that plague teamwork, but wouldn't it hinder spontaneous collaboration?
Not necessarily. It's about establishing a shared understanding of when it's heads down work time and when it's appropriate for open communication.
So it's not about eliminating communication. It's about creating a more intentional and productive workflow.
Exactly. And that can lead to better communication, more efficient meetings, and a greater sense of shared accomplishment.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive into the Pomodoro Technique. I'm honestly ready to ditch my to-do list chaos and embrace the tomato timer.
I think we can all relate to that feeling of to-do list overwhelm. But what's exciting about the Pomodoro Technique is that it's not about adding more to your plate. It's about working with your natural rhythms and creating a structure that supports sustainable productivity.
It's like giving your brain a framework for success instead of just demanding more.
Exactly.
Right.
Speaking of success, what's one key takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with today?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's the realization that productivity isn't about pushing yourself to the point of burnout.
Right.
It's about finding strategies that help you focus, manage your energy, and actually enjoy the process. And the Pomodoro Technique, with its emphasis on focused work and intentional breaks, seems like a really powerful way to achieve that.
I couldn't agree more. It's about working smarter, not harder, and recognizing that rest and rejuvenation are essential components of productivity.
So even if our listeners don't become full-fledged Pomodoro devotees, I hope they walk away with a greater appreciation for the power of those short breaks.
Absolutely. Even small changes can make a big difference in your overall well-being and productivity.
Well said. So that wraps up our deep dive into the Pomodoro Technique. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit life-changing.
We would.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried this technique before? What are your experiences with it?
Be sure to leave a comment and let us know. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Shooting the reality, for more deep dives into fascinating topics that will help you navigate this crazy world. Until next time, stay curious and keep shooting that reality.